Hello? What's up? Alright, here we are. I'm good. So, probably wondering why I'm streaming this evening, and the answer is I was bored. And there's a number of reasons that I'm doing a live stream on the topic of Booktube's dirty laundry, or it's really just about Booktube drama, but I didn't want to title it that because I hate even saying that, to be honest. Just gonna say hi in the chat real quick. Hey Julia. But yeah, it's basically about Booktube drama, and there's a number of reasons for that. It's not for me to sit here and literally gossip about the drama that's been going on and all that kind of stuff, but I do want to talk about it. I want to talk about the topic of drama itself on Booktube and just a few other things. There's a reason I'm doing this, and that is that quite recently, I've kind of noticed that these dramatic situations that are arising on Booktube are happening more frequently, and that's part of the reason as well why I wanted to live stream, is because I want to get input from people watching just to find out if this is something I'm just noticing more, or if it's something that is actually becoming more of a problem on Booktube. And I think in my head, it's kind of becoming this thirst for Booktube tea. And I've said tea and spilling the tea in the past as a joke. And to be honest, I've said it in most cases ironically, but it is becoming a pretty widely said and seeked out thing on Booktube. People are quite literally becoming thirsty for Booktube tea, or becoming thirsty for tea. But if there's one thing I know about tea, it's that if you drink too much tea, you'll get diarrhea, and then you'll get shit everywhere. And Booktube will end up covered in shit if we drink too much Booktube tea, is what I'm trying to say, basically. Hey, Joshana, Megan, and Alyssa. Hi, everyone who is now watching. I'm checking myself on my phone. But yeah, that's basically the summary to the video, is just that I want to have a chat about some of the specific dramas that have come up in the past, let's say a couple of months, and the topic of drama itself on Booktube. Like I said, I realized drama is a thing that human beings are attracted to because we love conflict. We love watching conflict from afar, I should say, and some people thrive on being involved in conflict, aka people who make spilling the tea videos, and then some people aren't. I'll also, yeah, thanks Jojo, I'll also clarify that the mustache is not a stylistic choice. I'm doing Movember, and despite the fact that we've reached the goal of $300, which I'm really stoked on, I'm going to keep it till the 1st of December, no matter how much I hate it. And I hate it. I'm looking at myself right here, and I can see that I look like a creep, which is going to make me talking about Booktube drama even more interesting. For the record, it is nearly 1:10 in the morning here. I'd be interested to know where in the world everyone is watching this from. So let me know in the chat where you are and what time it is where you are currently, and I will keep dribbling shit on my end. So yeah, Booktube drama. So I've been noticing that it's becoming a lot more common lately, and like I said, it kind of raised the question in me as to whether it's actually becoming more common, or if the dramas coming up are more serious, or if this is just something that's always happened and maybe I'm just starting to follow people who get involved in that drama a lot more often. I'm just trying to pinpoint what is actually happening here, because it's got me really confused, to be honest. It just seems like one of the things I used to be most proud of in being part of the Booktube community is that we felt so far removed from the rest of YouTube that does stuff like this. I mean, drama, there's literally a community of people, the drama community on YouTube, which is fine. Like, if you're into that stuff, that's cool. But I just didn't think that's what Booktube was, and I was kind of proud of that. And I think this is coming at around one of the worst times, me noticing all this new drama, is because I've said it in a video as well, that Booktube itself is getting a lot more attention with obviously the bigger booktubers, but booktubers have been in the news over in the USA and in newspapers, and here in Australia as well. Booktube was recently in the media. I think it was Pierre Ford and I forget her name. I think her name's Jean, but I forget her channel name. But they're Australian booktubers and / book bloggers, and they were in the news here as well. And I always thought to myself, it would be cool if we were, becoming more noticed in the grand scheme of YouTube, because the first thing I thought they would notice when they look at our smallish community, I should say, is that we don't do the dramatic crap that the rest of YouTube does. And for the most part, we don't. We still don't. But like I said, it seems to be becoming a bit more common. And then the thing that made me decide to do this live stream on this particular topic is that I was at work tonight and I was looking for something like a podcast to listen to, something kind of just something I could have in the background while I was working. And I don't know if he knows this, but I actually watch pretty much everything that Indie Insomniac puts out. He's a booktube channel that does mostly discussions and that kind of thing, and he's only got about 400 to 500 subscribers, which is quite a lot. But yeah, I don't think he knows I follow him, because I don't think my content is something he's particularly interested in, but the vice versa isn't true. I'm interested in his content, which is fine. We agree on a lot of stuff, and I'm sure we disagree on a lot of stuff as well. But the thing I respect the most about Indie Insomniac is that he has a very solid stance on how he thinks conversations and debates, especially on Booktube, should be carried out. And that is that the information is presented on both sides, and the people look at it rationally instead of just, in his words, dogpiling the person that they think is wrong. Which, let's just be real, like, I always say, the Booktube community is great, and it's really inclusive, and it's the most friendly place on YouTube, and I still think that's true, but people get dragged in Booktube for having differing opinions. And for the most case, yeah, exactly. That's his name, Devon. Thanks for clarifying that for me. But yeah, for the most case, it's just not appropriate, I think. And yeah, in some cases it's the execution, but I'm not articulating myself as well as Devon from Indie Insomniac would, I think. I'm going to give myself a bit of a pass there because it's 1:10 in the morning, but it's just not something that I've been proud of. If I'm being completely honest, I've become less and less proud of the way that Booktube has been handling dramas and controversies, and the way that spilling the tea has been romanticized. If I'm going to be honest with you, I hate that terminology. And like I said, I've said it as a joke, as a meme, I've said it ironically, but the fact that it's becoming such a popular and awesome, quotation marks around awesome thing on Booktube now is disappointing, is all. But I'm not the gatekeeper of Booktube, so that's just my opinion, obviously. I'm going to have a read of the chat real quick, because quite a bit's been happening here. Got some people from USA, Switzerland, Canada. Jeez, we're throwing the net wide here. That's really awesome. Did John Green do a video on like drama? Is that what John Green did? I watched most of Vlogbrothers stuff. I don't think I caught that one. Do I think everything started from the Zenith reviews? No, definitely not. I remember whinging about drama before all the Zenith reviews came out, so definitely not. And that's what I do. That's another reason I wanted to mention that I'm doing this live stream, is because I've become so self-aware that I'm doing so much whinging, not heavily, but in passing in my videos. I keep mentioning Twitter and like how disappointed I am in the way people react to things on Twitter, and I keep saying it and saying it and saying it. So I decided maybe I'll just make a live stream, talk about the dramas in the way that I want to talk about them, and then I'll stop whinging and bitching about how other people deal with dramas. Oh yeah. So John Green mentioned Booktube. I think it's funny with people like John Green and obviously, Hank and stuff, and even like Philip DeFranco and PewDiePie now, is how they've unconsciously kind of joined Booktube in like doing these book reviews. So Philip DeFranco, obviously massive YouTuber, he's got like a monthly book club, so I guess he's kind of in Booktube. And PewDiePie, for a while there, was doing a literary section on his channel among the memes where he just talks about literature that he's enjoying at the time. Spilling the tea just seems like an excuse to be gossipy while trying to be cool and edgy about it. And yeah, I mean, that's one way to put it, and I think that's kind of true. One thing I wanted to talk about in this video was the guru gossip thing, and I'm gonna feel like a bit of a hypocrite bringing this up because I was hoping people wouldn't make videos about this, and that's why I want to mention it in a live stream, because I don't want to make a video about guru gossip. Because something Devin mentioned, Indie Insomniac mentioned in his live stream video, which I'll link below. It's like 3 hours, but almost an hour of that is the countdown to the live stream for some reason, but it's actually really interesting, and it was a good listen. But what was I saying? Yeah, guru gossip. So I've been aware of it for quite a while, and my exposure to it has always been really negative, obviously, because that's how guru gossip has gotten so much attention, is through thrashing people with just vulgar and abhorrent bullshit. But a lot of the things that are being said on guru gossip as well are actually really nice. There's a lot of really nice stuff about booktubers on there. So, I mean, if you seek out negative bullshit on guru gossip, you'll find it. But it's also worthy to note that not everyone on there is trashing booktube or trashing booktubers. There is one particular new booktuber who, it's just, I'm not even gonna like touch on this too much because I don't want to give it too much attention. It's just horrible. But there's this booktuber called Danielle who's rather new, and they've just said some really, really disgusting things about her because well, I'm not even gonna go into it, to be honest. It's not worth bringing up, but you might already know about it. Catch you later, Jojo. Bonnie is doing well. She was here just a moment ago and then she ran off. Is it Thanksgiving there? I've been seeing a lot on Twitter about Thanksgiving. Whoops. But yeah, Julia's summed it up pretty well here. Book Twitter is filled with so much drama. It's something funny that I always think about is I always wonder what it would be like being in the Booktube community but not having a Twitter account, because it feels like you would miss out on so much. But then I really think to myself, wow, you would miss out on quite a bit, and it's not so much a bad thing. I always phrase it like this. So YouTube is, think of it as a classroom, and the teachers are the booktubers. So we get up in front of the class, we do our videos, we say our bits, whatever. Twitter is like the lunchroom where everyone goes afterwards. All the students and the teachers can all hang out together and chat to each other and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, there's a lot of food fights. But the food is just tea, if you want to call it that, I guess. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We don't do that down under, but I know from my extensive knowledge of American television and movies that you guys seem to enjoy it, so oh, don't tell me did they comment on Danielle's videos as well? I haven't seen any negative comments on Danielle's videos, but that's horrible if they did. I hope she sticks at it, because look, I can easily say she's a tougher person than me because I can handle like insults and bullshit, whatever. I don't really care. I don't care. But obviously her situation is different. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it. If you know of her channel, you know what I'm referring to. And if I was in her situation, I don't think I could stay within a community, even though it's such a small amount of people doing this bullshit to her. The fact she's brand new, basically, I think coming into Booktube and then being hit with that, I think I would just be like, fuck this, I'm out. But she stuck to it, so more power to her. Look, here's the thing. I think if you didn't have a Twitter account, in the scheme of Booktube, you probably are missing out on a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff, because that's, like I said, it's like the lunchroom. It's where all the Booktubers talk to each other. They talk to the people that watch their stuff. We share a lot of stuff from our personal lives, not necessarily book and writing related. It's a lot of fun, but I think if you don't have a Twitter, it's also kind of a plus, because if you're not seeing the Twitter side of things, I don't think you would be seeing much of the drama at all, because obviously video responses get made to the drama and that kind of stuff, but it's so easy to miss. So that's a good idea. Thanks, Jay Boslinski. I'm going to share Danielle's channel real quick, and I would really appreciate it if people went and checked her out. Because, look, I can't say that I would have stopped and looked at her channel if I hadn't heard about it in this way. But in saying that, because of the negative stuff that was happening, I took the time to go watch her video. I sat down, I watched it, and she's really sweet, and the fact that she stuck it out through some of the mean and vulgar bullshit that people have been saying, it's just I don't have words, honestly. I would say I don't get it, but I get it, because it's the internet and people like that exist. If there is a lack of people like that, people will be like that to fill that gap. There's always people that are trying to be edgy, and they think it's like hilarious to their select little group, but really they just look like fucking losers. Sorry, I have a lot of subscriptions, and I just subscribed to her tonight, so I'm just trying to find it real quick. I keep up to date with pretty much all of the Booktube dramas, so if there's any particular Booktube drama you would like to hear me give my opinion on, please do mention it in the chat, old or new. There's a couple I was going to talk about in this live stream that I decided I'm not going to, because the people involved, it's like really old drama, and the people involved probably don't want it dragged up again. I'm just going to say it really quickly to get it out of the way. The first one is Steve Donahue and the whole fake reader girls controversy. I'm not going to go into that, because all it was a comment made by him that was taken out of context. That's all you're going to get out of me on that. I think Steve's a great guy. I do. And the second one is not actually a Booktube controversy, but it's something I came across recently, because I did that collabs video, right? Really recently, 5 Booktubers I would collab with, and I mentioned it's late. I mentioned Peter likes books, and someone commented saying that I should really do my research on Peter because he's racist, he's homophobic, and all this kind of stuff like that. And props to that person for trying to make sure that I'm educating myself. I appreciate that. I do. I looked into all the controversy around Peter, and 99% of it was either debunked or false or just way out of context. For example, there was a lot of tweets from him shared where he was saying the N-word, but if you do more research into it, you find out that was from the time in Twitter where if you shared stuff, it just made it a tweet without actually sharing the thing that you were trying to share. And he was sharing Tumblr posts from a Tumblr that had the N-word in its name. So stuff like that. It was just, yeah, you get me. Back to the Danielle thing. Okay, here it is. I found it. Oh, I can screen share. I just remembered I can screen share. There we go. So, I'll do it so you can see here. That's the channel name, Gastineau. But if I just say it, you're not going to know how to spell it. So I'm going to leave it there for a little bit, and I'm going to keep chatting. And I need to be able to see the chat though. Look, that's it. It's Daniel Gastineau. I'm actually going to copy this, and I'm going to put it in the live chat so that you can copy it and paste it and just go check it out. And now I'm going to take a moment just to quickly catch up on what I missed on the chat. Yeah, really, guru gossip is just like it's just like a poor man's Reddit, I guess. It's literally like Reddit about gossip, and I think in its infancy it was created to gossip about beauty gurus, which I imagine is why it's called guru gossip. And over time, somehow Booktube fell into that web, and like I said, there's a lot of people that say nice stuff on there. There's a lot of people that say terrible shit as well. But like I said, they're fucking losers, and it's easy for me to say, like, who cares, you know, just ignore the haters. But for people like Danielle, it might not be that easy. And yeah, I completely agree. Dwelling on drama just gives it more attention, which is why I'm not going into the whole Steve and Peter thing. More than I have already. I hate that I even brought it up, but I want to give context. But the reason I'm doing a live stream about Booktube drama is because I want to discuss drama itself on Booktube. I'm curious if there's anyone that's been around Booktube for longer than I have, which is 2 years, if this has always been a thing, or if it's just something that's come up recently. Because when I joined, when I was just a passive watcher, I never saw this stuff. I never saw the drama and all this kind of stuff. So maybe I just missed it, or maybe it's just becoming popular. And it's, you know, it's difficult because a lot of the people making videos on this stuff are people I like and people I enjoy. I just disagree with the practice of dwelling on drama, I guess. But I don't want to be hypocritical because I'm doing a live stream about Booktube drama right now, but I like to think that with the Booktube discussion videos that I do, they're all about stuff that can genuinely be discussed. For example, like Nagini being Asian, is that racist? That's something that can and should be discussed. Audiobooks versus physical books and the benefits that they have versus each other, something, again, can be debated and discussed. But when you talk about drama, like, let's say, for example, the stuff that happened recently with the newbie guy tag, and this is something I feel guilty about. Because, alright, let's talk about that one. So, I'm sure everyone already knows there was a newbie guy tag, and some stuff was said, some opinions were given, probably in a way that, well, it was in a way that was extremely abrasive, but the response to it, and I didn't really make any videos or say anything outwardly angry or anything, but I made like a stupid little video edit thing where I was like kind of taking the piss out of him, but I hadn't even seen the full video for context, but I had the audio clip, and the audio clip on its own sounded ridiculous. And I'm sure everyone's seen the Read with Cindy video as well, which I think was an alright video. You know, it's about inclusiveness and all that kind of stuff, which is great, and it's always welcome. But the response to that. So again, I disagree with how abrasively the things that were said, but ultimately, you get an opinion, and no matter how strongly people disagree with that opinion, you should always have a place to say it. that includes Booktube. And when we do gatekeeping for communities like Booktube, we basically are sending out a message to groups of people that you aren't welcome here if you don't fit into this category. And I just don't agree with that. So again, it was abrasive, what was said, how it was said, and I didn't necessarily agree with it. But then you look at the response, which was quite, not literally, figuratively, but almost literally, the entire Booktube community coming down like a fucking mountain and crushing this person and sweeping the remains out of Booktube. And like I said, I was part of that, to a very small degree. I'm gonna say that it was a small degree. I didn't completely trash the guy, but I think that's a good example of instances where there was room for proper discussions, and I think there were a few videos that gave good discussions on the topic, and there were some that didn't, and that's just life. But honestly, I don't care how many people disagree with me. I hope the guy involved, I think he commented on this live stream just earlier. If you're watching now, I'm saying this to you. I hope, if you haven't already, you do rejoin the Booktube community at some point in the future. And I'm not saying you have to change your opinion. I would probably encourage you to change your approach. But look, if we don't have the same opinion about... the opinion in question was just about the YA-centric atmosphere of Booktube, which we can all admit is a thing. Whether you see it as a problem or not is a whole different story. But yes, Booktube is quite YA-centric. I mean, the popular spectrum of Booktube is quite YA-centric, and a lot of people don't like that, and that's fine. That's all I'm saying. God, that whole stuttery dialogue I just gave them was an absolute mess, but I'm going to summarize it again real quick. Basically, I don't agree with the rationality that it's appropriate to get angry about how YA-centric Booktube is, but I also don't I'm butchering it. I also don't agree with pushing people that have that opinion out of Booktube. There. God, I feel like I had so much more different topics I wanted to talk about, but now I can't remember them. There was another drama, I think it was... So it was the girl who... it was the entitlement video about, yeah, what was it? Help me out here, guys. It was Booktube Isn't Racist, and the title of the video was something about entitlement. I'm pretty sure that's it. And the girl who... I'm going to use Devin's words again from Indie Insomniac because he summed it up pretty well, and I watched that video. The girl involved said through gritted teeth how angry she was that it was believed that Booktube is racist, or I don't know if she went into the topic of Booktube being sexist, but you get the general idea. And it was a very again quite abrasive and angry video. Yeah, so talking about black people / people of color being entitled. So again, this is another example of where I think there was room for a real discussion about whether Booktube is racist or not from someone who believes it isn't. Because if you search, is Booktube racist? No, I was going to say most of them would probably say yeah, but now I think of it, no, I think most people would agree that it's not. But yeah, her approach was very angry. But she did follow up with an apology. And yeah, it's okay that she's in the chat. I imagine this has been talked about so much at this point that... and again, I'm sorry to be dragging up drama that we're probably trying to move past. But yeah. As Devin said, it was a very angry video, but it was followed up by an apology. And I think the essence of the video, maybe not well said, in a way I would have put it. I think the general mentality that Booktube is racist or sexist or not inclusive, and of course remember this is coming from a white guy, if that's something that's important. Yeah, I don't see it at all, and I think I have a right to say that, and I don't think anyone would say I don't, but I don't see it. I mean, that's one of the selling points. It's, like Devin said, a cliche at this point that Booktube is spoken about as friendly and inclusive and etc., but it is becoming increasingly common to me that it feels like that applies only to people who share the same opinion. That's what I'm saying. And the problem is almost always the execution, and I don't even really like saying that because I'm not an authority on how you should be giving your opinion. It's just, in almost all of these dramas, I don't even entirely disagree with what's being said, just how it's being said, for the most part. But yeah, I think Megan sums it up well here. People should be allowed to share their thoughts as long as it's done in a civil way. Silencing others just because you disagree with them isn't conducive to a healthy environment where you can debate. But yeah, that's absolutely true. And what I was getting to with that as well is that was another instance where, rather than most people, and again, some people did follow up with a healthy debate. There was one I wish I could remember, but this was obviously a long time ago. There was one I watched that was just fantastic. It's probably one of the top hits you would see if you searched it up, but most people, and again, this happened primarily on Twitter, just came down like a boulder, crushed this person, and tried to dust them off of Booktube. And I don't think she is off Booktube, which is fantastic. I would hope she doesn't leave just because of the controversy, but God, I know I'm rambling, but fuck it. I'm just speaking my mind because this has been getting to me for quite a long while, and listening to the Indie Insomniac video tonight just really kind of made me think to myself, yeah, I want to add to this, although I might be just repeating stuff that he's saying, while I might not be adding much more to it. I feel like if more people make videos like this, if more people do, or I'm doing a live stream, but if more people are vocal about how they are open to people having different opinions on Booktube, rather than the vocal majority just being people crushing other people and pushing them out, then maybe we can kind of stem the drama and we can reverse it even in some instances, is what I'm saying. Because it's bumming me out. Like, it is. It's really bumming me out, and I don't want to sound like a sad sack or anything, but it's been bumming me out, and it's kind of been disenfranchising me from the love that I have, or the passion I had for making Booktube videos, is because all I've been seeing from Booktube communities when there's big explosions lately is just negative explosions. Remember when the controversy at the time was dick soap? Do people remember that? That's literally the only time I've been really happy about a drama on Booktube is the dick soap one, because that was fucking hilarious. Yeah, maybe I'll go a bit more into the topic of inclusiveness on Booktube, because I think it can be said quite simply is that Booktube is, at a surface level glance, at a first glance, if you were to come across Booktube, and you saw the popular videos, you would become instantly aware, if you had the observational skills, that it is primarily women, which is, I shouldn't even have to say this, but it's fine, obviously. people of color not so much, but then that goes into a whole thing of like statistics and the amount of people of color versus white people is it's a question of, is that just a matter of ratios? Because I mean there is more white people than people of color, so is it actually that people of color are less inclined to join Booktube, or is it just that it's the simple mathematics of it? I don't know. So I'm not going to go into that. I don't know the figures. And obviously the queer community, if that's the appropriate way to put it, that's the predominant playing field of Booktube. So I think inherently it's weird to think of Booktube as a place that wouldn't be inclusive. And I wouldn't even say I see it as a problem, because it's just not something I've never really given much thought to, because it's such a non-issue with Booktube. And when we're talking about books, that stuff really doesn't matter. Identity politics is what I'm trying to say in regards to Booktube, is something I've never given much thought, because who fucking cares? Like, really, who cares? Yeah, it's an access thing as well. So obviously, if you're taking into account countries that have limited access to the internet, etc., that in most cases is predominantly people of color. But that's not an issue of Booktube. That's a huge issue. That's way above my head, way above all of our heads. I think that's not a Booktube thing. That's just a whole different thing. Catch you later, Jay Boslinski. Okay. Alright, well, I'm happy to say LGBT community in future. I know the word queer has been used as a slur in the past, but I've noticed it's been increasingly used. Maybe it's just a Twitter thing again. I've heard, let's just say Q community. I've heard that term used a lot recently, so I just thought that was the thing, but sure. I don't want this to become a discussion about the appropriateness of using that word, because obviously I am dramatically undereducated and just not in any way able to pass comment on that, because my knowledge is surface level. Anyway, oh god. Imagine how ironic it would be if this became a drama in itself. But yeah, like I said, I think those are two dramas that I hope it doesn't come off hypocritical because I'm bringing them up in this live stream, but I would hope the newbie guy tag and the, let's just say, entitlement video, I would hope they're things that are put to rest. They've been discussed, they've been chatted about, and that should be it. And me mentioning them is mostly so I can say that I don't think the response for the most part was entirely appropriate, despite the fact I didn't necessarily agree with the videos in the first place. But I would hope the two people involved stick at it and do keep trying to join the Booktube community. Yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, just go. Just because I'm running out of things to hit. I hate myself right now. I do not stutter this much in day-to-day life. I'm just a little bit sleepy. You can probably tell by my voice. That weird kind of raspy, trying to be quiet, but also tired, raspy voice. So do you think somebody who hasn't finished a book yet could get into Booktube? Do you mean like you haven't finished reading a book? Because if that's what you mean, yeah, absolutely. Ironically, the Booktube community is extremely fluid in that all that's really required is that you need to know what books are. I was going to say all that's required is that you need to like books, but you can kind of even get away with not being that much of a reader. To be honest, I haven't read a book physically since August. I've done a few audiobooks since then, but I got really burnt out reading the whole Veronica Roth collection for the interview I did with her, and I just haven't been interested in reading anything since. But yeah, you don't need to, I mean, in the technical sense, you don't need to have finished reading a book to enjoy Booktube or consume Booktube. In fact, it might be great for you to watch a lot of Booktube because it might give you books that you want to read going forward. It might give you advice about ways to make reading more comfortable and easier. It's just, the world's your oyster, my friend. What are your thoughts on a smaller booktuber, I can't remember her name, making a Guru Gossip account, I'm assuming. Guru Gossip account and arguing with people on Guru Gossip. I mean, if that's what she wants to do, go ahead. Honestly, I think I wouldn't recommend it because you can't argue with people like that. You just can't. And all you are doing when you do that is putting a giant target on your forehead. Unfortunately for me, I have a rather large forehead, so I try to stay away from that. It's just a terrible idea. Like, they're just a branch of trolls. I hate saying trolls because some people love being referred to as that for some reason, but to me that's just people trying to be edgy, but to the rest of the world just looking like fucking losers. See, they think they're giving genuine criticism, but they're not. They're just complaining about how self-centered they think booktubers are on a forum about gossip. So take from that what you will. Just checking for more questions. If you have any questions, hit me up. If you know of any previous dramas you want me to comment on, let me know. Because after that, look, like I said, my discussion videos are about discussion, not drama. I mean, there's a little bit of drama in them if drama is involved, but the discussion videos are first and foremost about discussion, not petty drama. And that's what this live stream is for me to comment on petty drama. Because I don't want to make a video about petty drama. When is my next video coming out? I don't know. I haven't filmed anything at the moment, and look, like I said before, I don't want it to seem like I'm in a bad place or anything, because I'm not. I just, when it comes to Booktube, I've been feeling a bit disenfranchised. Like, I wasn't going to talk about this, but fuck it, whatever. I haven't been feeling that great about it lately, and a lot of people talk about this, and I've spoken about it in the past, but there's something you get sometimes, and I'm assuming it's inherent or it's an inevitability, but when you enter a small community like Booktube, there are going to be times where you feel disconnected from the rest of that small community, because the thing with small communities is it feels like everyone knows everyone, and everyone's talking to everyone, and everyone's doing stuff together, and that's just not really the case. Booktube, while being a small YouTube community, is a huge community. It's fucking massive, and you're just not always going to be involved. And that's been a hard pill to swallow, even though I'm aware of that. Sometimes, like, recently, really cool, but the small Booktube aesthetics, or let's be real, it's not really just small booktubers, it's just booktuber aesthetics, and there's all these things like booktubers as book covers, and booktubers as soundtracks, and booktubers as this, booktubers as that, and it's been really, really cool. But when you like, I think the fact I have like nearly 7,000 subscribers just made it worse, and the fact I've been around for 2 years kind of made it worse. But seeing all of them and knowing that you weren't really in any of them, it just it stings a little bit, and it's so petty, and I feel so pathetic saying that because I'm a fucking 25-year-old man, but it sucks, and that's no one's fault. No one's obliged to include me in that, and if it happened now, I'd probably feel like it was out of sympathy. But it's just like, it's one of those things, you just feel a bit disconnected, and that's not all it is. I've been feeling this way for quite a while, but it's just, I haven't been feeling like I'm there in Booktube. I feel like I'm just kind of throwing videos into the circle, but I'm not in the circle. You know what I mean? It's weird. But, short answer, I'm not done making videos, but I might be done until... Oh, well, I'll do a video doing the NaNoWriMo. I'm not doing NaNoWriMo, doing the Movember wrap-up and thanking people for their donations, because the goal was 300, and we hit 300 a couple of days ago. So I'll be doing a video thanking everyone who donated to that, and I'm pretty sure Julia is one of those people. So Naz says, how's NaNoWriMo going? It's not. Something funny, actually. So I fully intended to try NaNoWriMo, like actually try. I knew I wasn't going to finish it because I've got so much stuff on this November. But I was like, hell yeah, I'll try. I'll try my best. I did one day where I wrote about 3,000 words, and then I started doing all the stuff that I needed to do in November. And just recently I had a couple of days off. I completely forgot about November. NaNoWriMo. I completely forgot. It just didn't exist to me. I fucking mind blanked. And I just played Stardew Valley for a couple of days. So at this point I've given up completely. I need to start writing again. I need to finish this fucking horror book. I swear to God. I'm really enjoying it, but I need to finish it. Any book recommendations? Depends what you're into. What genre are you into? And I'll adjust. Have you read A Song of Ice and Fire? I own it. I'm extremely intimidated by it, and I'm terrified that I'm going to spoil the show for me. I know there's like a ton of books, and I think the show's past the books now, but I don't want to risk anything. The show's finishing soon. I'll finish the show, and then I'll read the books. Do you have an opinion on the AuthorTube drama? I wasn't aware there is any. There's a lot of it. Do enlighten me. Oh yes, I have a mustache now, so I can... It's not long enough to curl yet, but I can at least do this. Enlighten me. Tell me about the AuthorTube drama. I'm interested. I heard Mandy Lynn, who... I kind of hate that she's getting hate, but again, this was on Guru Gossip, so who gives a shit? But some people were complaining because she has a course for sale. I don't know how much it costs. I think the first part, maybe the whole thing costs about $90, but it's an introductory course to starting an AuthorTube channel. And a lot of people were very mean about it, saying, you know, that she doesn't have enough subscribers to say, but that's bullshit, because as long as you have a fair analysis of what works and what doesn't, you can pass on that information. I think there's like 3 hours of video footage there, and it's like, if you don't like it, just don't fucking pay for it. Like, she did a course, a paid course that you can buy online for learning to make an AuthorTube channel, and people whinged about it at the end. The bookish community in Australia, it's hard to say because we don't have like BookCon. or BEA or anything like that. The closest thing I think we have is Comic-Con, and like authors are lumped in it with them. I met George R.R. Martin like a couple of years ago, like years and years ago, and I was dressed as the Joker at the time, so that was great. But yeah, it's lumped in, so I honestly don't know how large the book community here is, because there's no event that really brings us all together, which sucks, you know. Like, I swear to God, if the popularity that Booktube's getting, especially in Australia now, I think we could really benefit from at least some kind of small event. So if there's any promoters out there, Australia, which I doubt you would be watching this at 2 a.m, but maybe that's something I can look into. I'll reach out, maybe. Someone asked Julia Sapphire if she has a channel. Yes. How many subscribers have you got now, Julia? Just a cheeky little 17,000 or something. Thanks, guys. I really wasn't fishing for compliments, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't... See, this is why it's tough to talk about this stuff, but I would be a hypocrite if I didn't, while I'm growing a mustache, to raise awareness for males to talk about their problems. So there we go. It's just something that'll pass. Just a weird disconnected feeling. I used to be very involved with people when I started Booktube. I had a lot of Booktube friends that I talked to like every day, and I just don't hear from them people anymore. And I don't blame them. They've got their own lives. They've got their own stuff going on. A few of them have serious reasons for not being able to talk to me every day, and I understand, but it sucks, you know. Small section of the chat going on about Stardew Valley, yes. Very addictive though, and a terrible, terrible thing to discover when you're trying to finish a book. Terrible. I mean, fantastic, but procrastination-wise, fucking terrible. My Twitter's going off. Where was that AuthorTube drama I was promised? Do you think an author who hasn't finished a book can delve into the world of AuthorTube? Gotcha. I understand now, and the answer is yes. Almost all of the AuthorTubers you'll come across are people building a platform. It's something I preach. So I had already finished my first book when I started AuthorTube, but I wish I had discovered AuthorTube well beforehand, because it would have been way better upon releasing it. And I think the quality of the story would have been a lot better too. But one of the benefits of having an AuthorTube channel is to promote your book. And the best way to do that is if you're in the process of writing it, because you can share your experience writing it, and then you can make you publishing it a whole like mini series, which I plan to do when I put out my horror book Descent 7. So simple answer, yes. So yeah, ironically, I'm talking about being in a bit of a Booktube rut, and my most recent collab, which I was extremely thankful for, I still am, obviously, was with Julia Sapphire on her channel, and it was called The Booktube Rut. And it was about pretty much exactly that, trying to shake it up and do new stuff, and not so much about the community, but like your channel, and trying to dig yourself out of a bit of a rut. I was really thankful for that collab opportunity, actually, because it's, I don't know, just came at a good time. Sorry for the dead space while I'm reading the chat. If I could sing, I would sing for you, but trust me, no one wants that. Tips for starting an AuthorTube channel. Okay, sure. I guess this is an AuthorTube tips channel now. It's pretty much exactly the same as starting a Booktube channel, actually. Just what I would say is try to come up with a catchy channel name and channel art, obviously. That goes without saying. A lot of people just use their author name, which I think is clever in the sense that you are giving popularity to your name for when your book comes out. But then your channel will also get more visibility if your channel has something to do with writing in the name. If you plan on doing Booktube as well, maybe it could have something book related in the name. But that part really doesn't matter so much. I'm just talking about, people like Clara reads books. It's a Booktube channel. So if it was someone named like Clara Writes, people know what they're getting, and when they search for writing stuff, your channel's more likely to pop up. That doesn't really matter. When you start, make a couple of videos. I would probably say I would probably steer away from giving writing tips to start off with, because I tried that and didn't do anything for me. Didn't work. I would probably just start off with some simple writing videos. Maybe do like my 10 favorite writers or something like that, just about popular writers. And then let's say on the third video, do the AuthorTube newbie tag. That will attract people to your channel, and then go from there. And it's really important as well to interact with other AuthorTubers. Comment on their videos. For the love of God, do not do sub for subs. Comment on the videos. Don't do it just for the sake of getting them to look at your channel. Try and really get into the community, because that's what's going to grow your channel. Comment on videos if you are cool with it. Sign up to like the social medias. I know I've probably not made Twitter sound very attractive tonight, but it's probably a good idea to have Twitter, especially if you plan on putting a book out. Network. The start of the channel is really the important stage of networking. I mean, with other small AuthorTubers. As you build up, that's when you'll start talking to bigger AuthorTubers, and you'll start collabing, and etc., etc. You get the idea. Make your channel look nice. What plans do I have for the future? I have literally never read a more terrifying fucking question. My plan is to finish a book that people genuinely enjoy, that makes me popular enough to keep writing books for just enough money to quit my job or go part-time. That's my plan. Long-term plan. I've really steered away from Booktube drama in this one now. I was wondering if you have any advice on how to add more value to your videos for viewers. I'm having a problem because I'm doing NaNoWriMo vlogs right now, and I feel like there's no substance. I know exactly how you feel, actually. With NaNoWriMo, that's the tricky thing with being a content creator, is that only people who do NaNoWriMo tend to give a shit about NaNoWriMo, and that's a very niche audience. So NaNoWriMo itself isn't really going to attract as many people as normal AuthorTube videos would, and I don't know that there's a fix for that. You could be a little bit clickbaity, I guess. Maybe have the thumbnail and the title not mention NaNoWriMo, but not be entirely clickbait, you know what I mean? Like, have the title and the thumbnail be about what the video is about, but maybe not leaning so heavily on the fact that it's a NaNoWriMo video. What kind of music do I listen to? Literally, pretty much everything. I used to say everything except country, but you heard John Denver? Not bad. Not bad at all. I'll be a bit more specific. So, recently I've been... Actually, it's always around this time of year I've been starting to listen to Michael Bublé again. And I'm not ashamed. Yeah, pretty much everything. Jazz, pop, even rap to a certain degree. I'm not really into, like, I'll just say mumble rap, but I'm not like one of those people who are like, fucking rap back in my day, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I'm not really into, like, mumble rap, if you want to call it that, or new rap, whatever. But rap, hip-hop, rock music, obviously, classic rock is definitely one of my favorites. Really stoked about that new Queen movie that came out, because that is like one of my all-time favorite bands. Hopefully that's a good enough answer. Pretty much everything. You would be hard-pressed to name a popular band that I do not enjoy. If you don't mind sharing, what do you do for a living other than writing? Well, writing isn't really a living for me at all. I don't make enough money off it to be anything more than just paying for the books that I'm making, but I'm cool with that because I figure it's an investment. What do I do aside from that? I work in social media for all I'm going to say is a very large business and recognized business in Australia. Would it be okay if I tag you in one of my future vlog vids? Yeah, sure. You might have to, just let me know once you've done it. I can get a bit lazy with checking YouTube videos from time to time. What was the deal with the book with the cut wrists? I got to the tail end of that and I wasn't sure if it was the author who got flack for it or someone else. Is that, are you talking about Carve the Mark there? I'm not too sure. I know there was a whole cutting controversy around Carve the Mark, and I didn't make a video on it because I knew it would be too biased because I'd just done an interview with Veronica Roth. But if you're willing to trust me enough, I can honestly say that I think that controversy is ridiculous, and anyone who has read the book would know that cutting is in no way romanticized in that story. In no way. It's literally just based on old tribal customs, and Veronica has given her sources 100,000 times. So obviously, first of all, looks like we're out of questions. But you know, I got nowhere to be, so I'm happy to chill for a little bit longer. It's only been an hour. I really thought I would end up talking about the dramas a lot more, but I'm gonna have a look, see if I can find out anything about this supposed AuthorTube drama, because I'm interested. But if it's old stuff, I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to drag up people's old stuff. Wow. Okay. Alright, hold up. I'm going to bring this up. Because I was expecting to see like maybe one video, but a couple have popped up. Alrighty. So apparently there's some stuff going on on AuthorTube. Shit, hey. Of all the communities, like, I would say the same for Booktube, like, of all the communities, but really, in the writing community, what is there to be, like, what? See, this is what I mean, and I'm really not throwing shade at anyone here, or anyone who uses the phrase spilling the tea, but I just, every time I hear that, it like sparks a chord of displeasure in my brain, because I fucking hate drama, and I hate that drama is beginning to be a popular thing, and I hate that everyone just seems to be okay with it. Maybe that's just me personally. Like I said, I'm not the gatekeeper of Booktube, but shit, can that just not be what Booktube is, please? These are all like super long videos, so I don't want to go into it. Has anyone seen any of these? Can someone just tell me? Just one more time, if you haven't already. I'm going to copy her again. Go show Danielle some love. Show her that the Booktube community is not as shit as some people have tried to show. I'm copying her channel name into the chat again. What are some of my favorite YouTubers outside of Booktube? Let me tell you, because I watch a lot of YouTube. Actually, this seems like a good time for me to mention in passing, because I doubt many people are going to watch this, or at least watch this far in the stream after this finishes. So I'm going to make a little announcement in a minute on the topic of non-Booktube related stuff. But my favorite non-Booktube related YouTube channels are Philip DeFranco for news. I really adore that guy. Cody Ko, Danny Gonzalez, and Drew Gooden. I feel like, they come as a bit of a three pack because they're all extremely similar. They all come from Vine, and they're just hilarious. They're like the comedy. Let's see what else. Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning. I think their videos come out at nighttime for me, but I always watch them in the morning when I'm having breakfast, just because it's like a morning show for me. I pretty much covered all the like television segments. I've got news, morning show, comedy, pretty much. I watch PewDiePie as well. I know there's a lot of drama around him, but whatever. That's a whole different thing. I enjoy his content. I like memes. One channel I just found recently that I really, really, really like is called Scare Theatre. And basically what Scare Theatre does, I'm going to bring him up here. What Scare Theatre does is he just talks about like creepy stuff he finds on the internet. And like, I know it's like a whole thing, like creepypastas and all that kind of stuff, but he talks about, I don't know how to describe it. It's just different the way he does it, and it's always in really short videos, like 10 minutes or so. Let me show you. The art's kind of dodgy. It looks like a brand new channel because the artwork's kind of dodgy, but trust me, the content's good. This is it. If you're into spooky stuff, I highly recommend Scare Theatre, because I went on a binge. I watched like a lot of his videos last night, and I mean a lot. Some of them genuinely spooked me. Redditor Stuck in a Cult, that was a pretty good one. There's strange YouTube videos. Just great. But yeah, that is the long answer of non-Booktube related YouTube channels I watch. Catch you later, Captain. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you haven't already left. Julia Bonnie is, I would say, good, but she's still a little bitch. I mean, you know I love her, obviously, but God, she's just such a... I think she's literally, like, tearing apart something under my bed as we speak, so there you go. What do you think about the drama of unhealthy obsession with writing productivity? I'm a bit torn on that because I think it's something that all aspiring writers go through at some point or another, and I don't think when you're going through that, being told that you have an unhealthy obsession with it maybe would be helpful, but the attitude that some people have towards it isn't helpful for people that are going through the whole being obsessed with finishing their book stage. But what usually happens is this. So a lot of aspiring writers become obsessed with finishing their story, with their productivity. So they pare out this book and they think they've done a masterpiece, and some of them will even like publish it, and it doesn't get good reviews. It ends up being basically pointed out for what it is, which is a rush job or a piece of garbage, and that is a bit of a wake-up call for the person. And in some instances, I think that really helps evolve a writer. But if it's something that's carrying on dramatically, like past more than one story, then that would concern me. But I think that's something that the family and friends would need to deal with. That's nobody else's business, and I don't think anyone else should be involving themselves. Would you rather be an author and be happy, but barely make a living, or have a job you hate, but make good money? I've said 100 times that I would love to be an author who makes just enough to be comfortable. obviously not poverty. I wouldn't want to live in poverty, because who does? You know, it's a horrible thing to not have enough money to feed yourself. It's just terrible. And it's bloody heartbreaking when you hear about people that have to experience that. But comfortable is the word I'm looking for. Enough money to not have to worry about money, basically. But live in a humble place, sure. I would rather that. So Elizabeth, do you mind just giving me a brief rundown, if you're still there, if you haven't gone to the bathroom again, do you mind giving me a brief rundown on what the drama was that... I know Jenna, and I'm aware of Shaylin Wrights because of her video that got like 100,000 views. I don't know about Alexa Dawn, but do you mind letting me know what the drama is that they were talking about? I'm just interested to know, because I didn't know that AuthorTube was a place that would even be, susceptible to drama. AuthorTube is an even smaller community than Booktube, drastically smaller. I've always said that AuthorTube is a part of Booktube, really. It's a branch of Booktube, so think of it like Booktube. The Booktube community is a tree, and I think that AuthorTube is a branch rather than being a separate little tree. You know what I mean? I really would like to get another cat for Bonnie to, socialize with, but the idea that they could rise up against me and I would end up with 2 Bonnies scares me, so no. No. Yeah, if anyone's seen those AuthorTube drama videos, please fill me in. That's not me saying spill the tea. I want to point out I'm not saying that. I'm just curious. Hopefully there's something of substance to the drama. If it's just more petty drama, then, well, that'd be disappointing, for one thing. What else can I talk about with you guys? What are my thoughts on readathons? I don't really have any thoughts on them, to be honest. I mean, like... Is there a thing with readathons at the moment? Are people displeased with them? I'm not too sure. I don't do readathons only because I'm a heavy mood reader. I mean, like I said before, I haven't physically read a book since August because it's 100% if I feel like doing it. That's it. I told myself when I started Booktube I would not be one of the people who feel like they're compelled to read so that they can maintain their channel. I said to myself, if I'm meant to have a good YouTube channel, I will be able to run it without the prerequisite of having to read books that I'm not ready to read. That is why 99% of my videos don't actually have to do with books that I've read. Keep that in mind next time you see one of my videos go up. It's a little cheeky, a little sneaky, but most of my videos actually have nothing to do with books that I've read. People say that if you're not writing 12 books a year, you're not a serious writer. If you're not writing 12 books a year, you're looking after yourself for one thing. 12 books? I mean, I struggle to believe that anyone could write 12 good books in a year. Like full-length novels. I don't know. Because I feel like a good story requires a real lengthy amount of thought and passion, and like, it's not just you writing the characters. You have to sit with them. You have to live with them. You have to like know these characters on a really personal level for them to be believable. And I can't imagine 12 separate groups of characters within a year. That's like a month. So a book a month, basically. I just, nah. I don't, like, if you are doing that, fantastic, and prove me wrong. I would be happy to be proven wrong, but as an expectation for other people, fuck that. Hell no. Even people who do write full-time, I'm confident saying the majority of authors who write full-time don't write 12 books a year. I mean, Stephen King pumps them out like there's nothing, but Julia might skewer me for saying this, but a lot of people would agree that some of Stephen's work sucks. And that's just a result of writing a lot of books. It's not a problem. It happens. Spaghetti effect. I love explaining this. So the spaghetti effect, I did this in my last live stream too. I'm sure I'm getting deja vu. Because the spaghetti effect can apply to almost everything. Dating, getting a job, anything. You grab a handful of spaghetti and you throw it at the wall. Some of the spaghetti's going to stick. Most of it's going to fall off. But some of it's going to stick. And that applies for writing books. If you write enough books, a handful of spaghetti, if you write enough, some of them are going to be hits. Some of them might stink. Some of them are going to stink. That's just... There's a threshold. I'm not sure that anyone has ever written 100 masterpieces. Goes for dating as well. You'll date a handful of spaghetti in your life. Only a few strands of spaghetti are going to stick. What do you think about some of the author-tubers creating programs that are costly to their subscribers to help finish their books or get out of a first draft when themselves aren't published? For a moment there, I thought you would be talking about the Mandy Lynn thing again, where she created a program that she put a lot of effort into, which I think is fine. Personally, even if I hadn't started AuthorTube yet, I don't think I would pay to learn how to start AuthorTube, because there's so much content already on AuthorTube, or YouTube in general, telling you how to do it. But I don't think she's exploiting anyone. I think she put a lot of effort into it. It's not like she just threw it online. But that's not what you're asking. What you're asking is creating programs that are costly to help people finish their books. I'm not too sure what you mean. Do you mean like helping them write the book? Creating programs to help people finish their books. Oh, do you mean like the creator is creating programs where they help other people write their books? It kind of depends, because I mean, let's say if a professional editor who'd been doing editing for authors for 20 years suddenly decided to start writing a book and they continued to offer their services, wouldn't really be a problem. Obviously that's drastically different to some schmojo on YouTube, but I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I think that comes down to the people involved, honestly. Just do your research, I guess. I hope Julia's not leaving just because I said some of Stephen King's stuff isn't great. Bye, Julia. That's how to get rid of a Julia Sapphire, everyone. Yeah, I don't have a problem with creating writing programs, as long as you're not flat out scamming people. I think it's up to the customer to do their research and make sure they trust the person beforehand. That's I don't know. It's hard to say without seeing examples, I guess. Yeah, I've mentioned before an announcement of sorts. What I was going to say is that during this kind of phase I was going through, where I wasn't feeling completely 100% in Booktube, I just kind of thought to myself, like, I wish I could just make a video about not book-related stuff and people would still want to watch it. And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of started subconsciously noticing, because I do a lot of internet surfing, just looking at random stuff, like everyone does, obviously. But I always find interesting stuff that I know I could make a good video out of, but have nothing to do with books and writing. So I think I've kind of decided in a way that I want to start a second channel just to do non-book and non-writing related stuff. And it wouldn't be like vlogs or anything like that. That my life is not nearly interesting enough to do that. But yeah, it would be just like finding interesting stuff, like I don't know, maybe now I get a mind blank, but I had like 50 things written down that I could talk about, like, you know, just interesting stuff, spooky stuff. Sometimes, not exclusively spooky, but sometimes. But yeah, I want to start a second channel where it's just me, kind of like my normal Booktube videos, except talking about not books, not writing, just interesting stuff that I've come across on the internet. One example I was thinking of is I ended up going on a binge of these documentaries the other day that are all about inhabited but discovered but technically undiscovered islands. So, I mean, technically they are discovered, but I'm blanking on the word I'm looking for. But basically it's islands where civilized people have come across, because there's just so many islands that haven't been explored yet, and they've come across, and there's people living on there who have never been exposed to technology and modern food and all this kind of stuff like that. And it's really interesting, really, really, really interesting, and I would love to do a video about that. Just stuff like that, you know? To start my own drama, listening to an audiobook at double speed, you cannot possibly take in and absorb the story. That's just finishing a book for the sake of it. Hashtag spilling the tea. I'm inclined to believe you. I know a lot of people listen to audiobooks at double speed. It's 1.5 for me. I listen at 1.5 because that's the comfortable speed. It feels like it's just dragging on a bit, if not, but two is a lot. Like, hang on, I can show you. That's the beauty of it. I can show you what it would sound like at double speed. Let's take I've still got Scare Theatre up, so let's just take one of his videos. I'm going to unmute the desktop audio for a second, just so you can hear what it sounds like at double speed, and let's collectively decide if you could listen to an entire book effectively at that speed. It doesn't really matter which one. I'm sorry if that's too loud. Is there any audio even coming through?
Classic arcades possessed a very...
You can probably hear it through this mic, actually.
The late 70s to mid-80s,
so that's normal speed,
or what is known as the golden age of arcades, remains a fond memory in the minds of those who got to experience them. Nothing was more exciting than entering the steel with a handful of quarters while flashing bright lights emitted from countless arcade machines. People would spend hours playing classic games.
I'm going to imagine I'm listening to an audiobook.
As the home consoles became more widely available, this era slowly faded away. Now, there are very few classic arcades left. The golden age of arcades left not only happy, vivid memories behind, but also some chilling legends. You may be familiar with some of these, such as the legend of Polybius, the alleged government mind control.
No, I'm with you on that one. It's too fast. Way too fast. Yeah, I mean, it would depend on the narrator and how fast they speak, but still, at times 2 speed, even the slowest ones are a bit fast. Obviously, it's subjective. It would work for some people. It definitely wouldn't work for me. If I was sitting there, like, not doing anything else, maybe, but isn't that the whole point of audiobooks, is that you can do other stuff? My first book has an island like that. Well, that's interesting. It's probably not the most interesting example I could have used for my pitch for a second channel, but I'll be doing a proper video about it. I don't plan on launching it until probably the end of January, start of February, so I'll do a proper video by then. I would have filmed a bunch of videos. One of the exciting things about doing it is that I've always wanted to have some of my mates on my YouTube channel but they don't read and they don't write. Like, I mean, they can read. I mean, they're idiots, but then they can read. But yeah, they don't read, so there would be no value in having them on this channel. So if I do a channel where it's other stuff, I can hang out with them and have discussions with them about certain things. And they're entertaining guys and gals. I think you'd really like them. Look, I'll be honest, I think at this point it's pretty clear I've run out of stuff to talk about. I've gone through controversies and dramas and all that kind of stuff, and literally every other subject known to man, so I think I might wrap it up here. On a closing note, I just want to remind you guys to check out and give some love to, I'm going to copy her channel name in here for a third time. Show some love to Danielle's channel, because she really is a really sweet person and I think she deserves some love. And check out Indie Insomniac's video similar to this one if you want to listen to some similar discussions around, you know, dramas and just some different opinions around it. If I was to summarize in any way, the whole purpose of this live stream was to formally address how I feel about the Booktube cut-paste response to opinions that differ. And like I said, in most cases the execution hasn't been done very well, but rather than people saying, you know, we get your opinion, but it wasn't executed very well, they just turn around and say, fuck you, man, get out of Booktube. And I just don't agree with that. That's all. That's pretty much it. Don't worry about the AuthorTube drama. I think I've talked about more than enough drama today. And like I said, this live stream is pretty much me deciding that I'm not going to whinge and bitch in passing in my videos anymore. I'm going to actively try to avoid making snide remarks about Twitter, Booktube drama and all that kind of stuff, because it's just bumming me out. I just wanted to do a live stream where I can just vomit all that, like all of my pent-up aggression about Booktube drama into a live stream and just cut it clean. If there's Booktube drama in the future, then I might do another live stream, but for now I think we're all good. If there's anything that I actually want to do a discussion video on, like stuff that can be properly discussed, then I'll do a video. But if it's petty drama, I'll do a live stream, or I just won't get involved at all. But yeah, that's it. Let's call it. Thanks for the kind words, Nui. I really appreciate that. Keep an eye out. I'll do a video towards the end of the year about the new channel, and I'm really excited about it. I think I'll be going into it with a lot of passion and a lot of energy that I haven't had with Booktube in quite a long time. Not dissing on Booktube, not even dissing on my channel. I still put 100% into my videos, and I hope that shows. But you'll probably notice that my videos have become a little less frequent, and that's because I just don't have as much energy for it anymore. And I'm sure I'll get it back, but for now I'm just taking it easy, you know. Hi Robbie, you've just missed us. I'm signing off now, but yeah, thanks again guys, I appreciate it. Much love. And now you get to watch me awkwardly try to stop the stream.